Perhaps even better, fresh of my life. Oh, it's too late. I'll stop studying and go to bed.
Oh no, Gloria, you may continue learning in your dream.
Really?
Yeah, of course it is. Might sound like science fiction, but researchers are increasingly focused on the relationship between the knowledge our brains absorb during the day and the fragmented they generate at night. Here's an example. We all know that some people talk in their sleep, but did you know that some people even talk in their sleep in a foreign language? I thought that it was amazing, and I was like, how is that possible? But it's true. In fact, scientists have found that dreaming about tasks we learned is associated with improved knowledge in that activity. So, if you speak a foreign language in your sleep, it's probably a sign that you already know something about it. By the way, do you know dancing? Do you love dancing? Well, these two questions have nothing to do with what I'm going to say, but the next example has to do with the dance movements. Researchers taught series of dance movements to a group of patients with conditions like sleepwalking. Then they videotaped the subjects as they slept. Lying in bed, eyes closed, one female sleepwalker on the tape performed the dance movements she learned earlier. This is a vivid example of the learning in the dream. By and large, everything we learn before we go to bed, whether it's language or movements, is likely to be played back while we sleep.
Time for class now.
I'm so sleepy.
You stay out like yesterday?
No, I went to bed at 10 o'clock yesterday evening, but I think 11 hours sleep is not enough for me. Why you look so energetic? You sleeping longer?
No. I just sleep for about 5 hours. I was fresh.
Why?
Let me tell you. Sleep has a very thing, that is, it includes the effect of 5 different states in both 90 to 100 minutes. In a national sleep mission, divide the sleep stage into 5 states: falling sleep, light sleep, asleep, deep sleep, and rapid eye movement sleep. Stage 1 is the beginning of sleep. At this point, the brain will begin to change, and we always use asleep to describe this stage. Stage 2 begins the formal sleep, belong to the light sleep stage. At this time, the brain will gradually irregular, and occasionally there would be high frequency and large amplitude brainwaves known as sleep ingress, and low frequency and large amplitude brainwaves known as K-junction. Stage 3 and 4 are sleeping stage, and the subjects are not easily waking up. At this time, the brainwaves change quickly. The frequency is only 1 to 2 seconds per second, but the amplitude increases quickly, showing a slow curve of change. This 4th stage of sleep takes about 60 to 90 minutes in total, and there is no rapid eye movement phenomenon, so they are collectively referred to as non-rapid eye movement sleep. In stage 5, the brain waves change rapidly, producing high frequency, low amplitude brain waves similar to those seen in the awakened state, but with distinctive jarred waves. Sleepers tend to roll over and wake easily, and mostly report dreaming if they are awakened at this time. REM, though, becomes an important feature of the fifth stage of sleep and an important base for psychologists to study dreaming.
Even though sleeping problems plague many people, there are still some ways which can improve our sleeping quality. In the first place, you can do about half an hour of exercise before sleeping. Even a few laps downstairs can be useful. But be careful, do not do too much before sleeping, because intense exercise causes endorphins in the brain to increase, which may keep your brain active and hard to fall asleep. And then you should pay attention to the temperature of your bedroom. Adjusting the air condition of 24 centigrade and 60% humidity are conducive to sleep. What's more, drinking milk is beneficial to sleep. Milk contains tryptophan. This amino acid in the human body will be converted into serotonin, thereby affecting people's appetite, mood, promotes the brain pressure to relax. Milk is rich in curcumin. Curcumin can not only promote the development and growth of bones, but also inhibit the abnormal state of brain nerve excitement, help stabilize the mood and adjust the mood. So, if you drink a cup of warm milk before going to bed, the effect of promoting sleep will be better. Last but not least, you can help you sleep by listening to white noise, such as running water or the wind. White noise can improve the disturbance of sleep structure caused by ambient noise and significantly reduce nocturnal arousal level. But be careful with your playlist, because if you hear the hip-hop or the rock and roll in a sudden, you may not fall asleep tonight.
Did you notice that Mara in the picture is very sleepy, but she can't sleep? In fact, nowadays many people around the world have problems sleeping of a variety of reasons. The World Sleep Organization found that 27% of the world's population has sleep problems. The incidence of insomnia is 32% to 50% in the United States, 20% in Japan, 30% in France, and 38.2% in China, with insomnia problems all over the world. Insomnia leads to countless disasters and losses. On January 28, 1986, NASA's Space Shuttle Challenger exploded 73 seconds after liftoff, killing all 7 astronauts. The human factors final report cited severe sleep deprivation among many NASA managers as a factor in the error. Long working hours have become a part of NASA's working culture. The 2 chief engineers did not sleep for 23 hours before the launch and slept for only 3 hours the day before. The Exxon Valdez oil spill caused a massive ecological disaster because of a worker's failure to stay awake for 18 hours before the disaster. Looking at maritime accidents in the past, more than 80% of them were directly linked to human error. one of the main causes of which was the lack of sleep by the crew. The World Health Organization estimates that at least 1.2 million people died on traffic accidents each year, with drowsy driving and drunk driving the top two causes. The U.S. Department of Transportation estimates that 1 out of every 6 traffic accidents is caused by drowsy driving, which causes 100,000 road accidents a year, 71,000 injuries, 1,500 deaths, and more than $3 billion in direct economic losses. Sleep deprivation is responsible for 45% of car accidents and 50% of workplace accidents. Insomnia often brings us serious consequences and inestimable losses. Sleep occupies nearly a third of our lives. Sleep is not just a rest after work. It regulates the various systems in our body. People who sleep for less than 4 hours a night are more than 80% more likely to die than those who sleep for 7 to 8 hours. But people who sleep longer, more than 10 hours a day, have an 80% higher risk of dying. Many people talk about the importance of sleep, but still struggle with insomnia. Sleep has received great attention. Now let's take a look at how people think about it.
Hello, I'm a reporter from ABC station. Could you spare me a few minutes to ask you some questions?
Yeah, sure.
Stop. If you think it's going to be a smooth start, that is impossible.
What do you know about the World Sleep Day?
I just know that it falls on March the 21st, and it was established to arouse people's awareness of the importance and qualities of sleep.
Oh, you are absolutely right. By the way, do you have insomnia?
Well, you know what? I think the people in the modern society are more or less suffering from that.
So, what do you think has caused this phenomenon?
Oh, I think it depends on circumstance. I used to look into the insomnia, and I found that the insomnia include primary insomnia and secondary insomnia. Primary insomnia usually lacks a clear cause, and it has something to do with the individual's constitution.
About the other, from the causes of the secondary insomnia can be divided into 3 aspects: somatic diseases, mental disorders, and drug abuse. Somatic diseases such as cerebrovascular emergencies, tumors, mental disorders like the death of loved ones, family changes, life, work, and study pressure, and drug abuse referring to the use of central stimulants, all of which are responsible for our insomnia.
Wow, what you said did really surprise me. You have already known a lot about it. So one last question. Nowadays, many people realize the importance of sleep, but they still choose to stay up late at that time. What do you think causes it?
Well, from my point of view, I think the main reason of that is poor self-control. Of course, it is not ruled out that because of the insomnia or other objective factors. But the truth is, many young people stay up late just because they are addicted to brushing the WeChats, TikTok, and unable to put their phones down until holding them fall asleep. Most of the time, although they are already drowsy, they still can't resist the temptation of entertainment.
Yeah, you have got a point. That is all for my questions today. Thank you so much for your cooperation.
It's okay.
Dear James, once said that to save or not to save is a problem. Just give it an imagination. It's the 11 o'clock the day before yesterday. I have been in your bed and your roommates have very richly cleaned his iPad. Has a neatly rolled I made it for you. I like this. I think that whoa, such a rude man. Why should make such a person to be my roommate? How will have parents throughout the child? Blah 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 blah. And then we finally fell into sleep. It's just about 1 o'clock at the morning and the soldiers has snowing for an hour. Yeah, you're right. I had already chosen not to sleep.
Hello, this is Myra. Let's keep going. For yesterday, just at the same time, you had just made up your mind to sleep earlier, and luckily, your roommate couldn't play his game because the inefficient school internet. However, the boss in your department asked you to fetch your documents right away. Shakespeare James also said that nobody could deny the opinions of their superior. So you had to put on your clothes, climb out of your bed, and boot up your computer. This is very sad. Just for me, I had experienced this situation for several times. The demanding tasks can also affect your sleep deeply.
The time has come to tonight. Once again, you are in the bed. On this occasion, there aren't any people stopping you from taking a good rest. You said to yourself, "Oh, my chance is coming. Just playing with my phone for a while to celebrate. And then I will close my eyes to have a good rest." So when it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you suddenly remember what you have said 3 hours ago. No matter how grateful you are, you have still the chance of taking a good rest. Lack of self-control is another big reason why you stay up late.
You will see that there are so many things that can affect to our sleep. But why? Why are you losing the expensive sleeping time because of these reasons? And are there any suitable ways to deal with it, or do you think it is a problem? We all know that sleep is pretty important for our people. But have you just treated it as an important thing, or you just treat it as a necessary thing?
When you can't sleep just because you are distracted by the outside world. When you can't close your eyes just because you should finish the fucking work. When you just go through the night without anything work. What? I don't know. Saving the what? Completing a extremely bad work? Even though, please pay more attention to your health.
Life will be better if you decide to be less caring. Take control of your life and be the master of yourself. If you need a good rest, just say it to your roommates and let them shut up. If the work is not so urgent, just try to persuade your boss to charge documents later. If you can't control yourself from watching teleplays or playing games, just try to turn off your phone for 1 minute or even 10 seconds. Perhaps you may fall asleep immediately. Let the importance of sleep guide you, not the necessity of it to compel you.
In 1965, 17-year-old high school student Randy Garner stayed awake for 264 hours. That's 11 days to see how he'd cope without sleep. On the second day, his eyes stopped focusing. Next, he lost the ability to identify objects by touch. By day 3, Garner was moody and uncoordinated. At the end of the experiment, he was struggling to concentrate, had trouble with short-term memory, became paranoid, and started hallucinating. Although Garner recovered without long-term psychological or physical damage, for others, losing shut-eye can result in hormonal imbalance, illness, and in extreme cases, death. We're only beginning to understand why we sleep to begin with, but we do know it's essential. Adults need 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, and adolescents need about 10. We grow sleepy due to signals from our body telling our brain we are tired, and signals from the environment telling us it's dark outside. The rise in sleep-inducing chemicals like adenosine and melatonin send us into a light doze that grows deeper, making our breathing and heart rate slow down and our muscles relax. This non-REM sleep is when DNA is repaired and our bodies replenish themselves for the day ahead. In the United States, it's estimated that 30% of adults and 66% of adolescents are regularly sleep deprived. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. Staying awake can cause serious bodily harm. When we lose sleep, learning, memory, mood, and reaction time are affected. Sleeplessness may also cause inflammation, hallucinations, high blood pressure, and it's even been linked to diabetes and obesity. In 2014, a devoted soccer fan died after staying awake for 48 hours to watch the World Cup. While his untimely death was due to a stroke, studies show that chronically sleeping fewer than 6 hours a night increases stroke risk by 4.5 times compared to those getting a consistent 7 to 8 hours of shut-eye. For a handful of people on the planet who carry a rare inherited genetic mutation, sleeplessness is a daily reality. This condition, known as fatal familial insomnia, places the body in a nightmarish state of wakefulness, forbidding it from entering the sanctuary of sleep. Within months or years, this progressively worsening condition leads to dementia and death. How can sleep deprivation cause such immense suffering? Scientists think the answer lies with the accumulation of waste products in the brain. During our waking hours, our cells are busy using up our day's energy sources, which get broken down into various byproducts, including adenosine. As adenosine builds up, it increases the urge to sleep, also known as sleep pressure. In fact, caffeine works by blocking adenosine's receptor pathways. Other waste products also build up in the brain, and if they're not cleared away, they collectively overload the brain and are thought to lead to the many negative symptoms of sleep deprivation. So what's happening in our brain when we sleep to prevent this? Scientists found something called the glymphatic system, a cleanup mechanism that removes this buildup and is much more active when we're asleep. It works by using cerebrospinal fluid to flush away toxic byproducts that accumulate between cells. Lymphatic vessels, which serve as pathways for immune cells, have recently been discovered in the brain, and they may also play a role in clearing out the brain's daily waste products. While scientists continue exploring the restorative mechanisms behind sleep, we can be sure that slipping into slumber is a necessity if we want to maintain our health and our sanity.
The average person will sleep about 8 hours a day, so that's a third of your life catching Z's. If you live to the average age in most developed nations, that will mean you'll spend somewhere close to 10,000 days in bed asleep. That's more time spent sleeping than you'll do any other activity. And of course, we're not counting breathing or thinking or seeing. With this in mind, you'll have to give great respect to this thing we all call sleep. Sleep is our great relief, and countless studies tell us that if we don't get enough of it or get too much of it, there will be negative consequences regarding our physical and mental health. You best make sure you're sleeping right, given how much of it you do, and today we'll tell you how to sleep well. Before we get into the advice, we'll tell you that research has shown that quite a lot of people do actually sleep in the wrong position. You might feel like it's the best way to drift off, but some positions can cause people harm. Some of the consequences of bad sleep positions might be you wake up with pains, sometimes in the neck, sometimes in the back, shoulders, or knees. You might just feel stiff in the morning, a little bit too rigid, but there's more than that. Some people snore because they're in the wrong position. And while we all let out a few nighttime grunts now and again, snoring can become a problem not only for your health but for your sleeping partner's mental health. Your friends might balk at sharing a hotel room with you too, and if you're especially loud, you might annoy people in the same house but not even in the same room. Because you're sleeping all wrong, you might wake up feeling really tired as if you haven't slept much at all. While some people wake up with headaches, and according to some experts, this might be a pillow problem. Other problems related to bad sleeping positions can be waking up with heartburn or inflammation in certain parts of the body. So without further ado, let's see how to sleep well. First of all, you might not know if you're not sleeping right because you have some of the symptoms we mentioned. You might just feel groggy every morning, or your sleep tracker might be telling you that there is a problem. Not everyone is the same, but we'll tell you how some positions can cause certain problems. Sleeping on your stomach can be a good thing and a bad thing. One of the problems with this is the fact that with a high pillow, sleeping on your stomach can cause neck pain. You're basically forcing your neck into a very difficult position every night, and this is why you might wake up with pain there quite often. The obvious solution to this, if you're a habitual stomach sleeper, is to get a lower pillow or totally get rid of your pillow. Yes, some doctors say sleeping on your stomach is best done without a pillow. You could at least give it a try. But there's more. Sleeping this way can make it harder to breathe because it's not exactly the most comfortable breathing position. Eileen Rosen, an associate professor of clinical medicine for the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine in Philadelphia, said that there is a solution. Try not to sleep like a plank, for one thing, so bend the knee and the elbow. After that, to help more with position, put a small pillow underneath that armpit and hip. You can also take some pressure off your back by putting a pillow under your stomach. Try it. Play around with using pillows, not just for your head, but to support other parts of your body. You might just find you get a much better night's sleep. As for those head pillows, well, if you are a stomach sleeper or a back sleeper, don't have them too high. You only want enough height to keep your spine straight. Have you ever seen those images of Sleeping Beauty sleeping on her back with her head at a steep incline? Well, Miss Beauty no doubt woke up with a terrible neck crick. You don't need to go too high. So what about those folks that feel so comfortable sleeping in the fetal position? Oh, don't we all miss those cozy days in the womb of our mothers? It's actually the most popular position, and it's a good fit for most people. But there are problems too. It can cause breathing problems, which might lead to a bad night's sleep. One thing you can try if you like to sleep in this position is putting a pillow under one of your legs and holding on to it, as if you're hugging the pillow. In fact, in many places around Asia, people sleep like this all the time, except they hang on to something that looks a bit like a sausage. Sometimes they're called sausage pillows. They're not only used for people who like to sleep in the fetal position, but also to support other parts of the body. Buy one, stick it next to you, and we guarantee you'll soon be clinging onto it as a form of support and comfort. Many of the experts tell us that the fetal position with some support can be the best way to sleep. A lot of sleepers, and it's well documented, have lower back pain because of the way they sleep. Again, one thing you can do to fix this is get some kind of support. To prevent lower back pain, you might try sleeping with that support under your knees, in between your thighs, and again, if you sleep on your stomach, underneath you. So what if you like sleeping on your stomach but not really in the fetal position? The best thing about this is that it can reduce all that snoring you do. It's also a lot better for digestion and heartburn than on your back. One study we found though said if you want to reduce heartburn and acid reflux, you should try and switch sides a lot, at least when you're trying to get to sleep. Just about everyone anyway says don't eat a big meal and go to sleep, especially a real fatty meal. It's not great for your weight, so try and give some space between eating and sleeping. If you're a side sleeper, there might be problems, such as shoulder stiffness and even jaw tightness. Again, another pillow under your body can help this. Side sleepers, like fetal sleepers, can really benefit from having something to hold on to. Not many people actually sleep on their back, but it does have quite a few benefits, including helping with knee pain and hip pain. It's more of a laying in bed and thinking position than a sleeping position, and many of us retreat to the stomach or side at some point. The important thing here is to get the pillow height right, since too low or too high will give you neck pain. It's also the position that a lot of people do their snoring in. If you are a serial snorer, then try to tell yourself to sleep on your side or in the fetal position. There are other tricks too, including sleeping with a tennis ball in the back pocket of whatever clothes you sleep in. In the end, there's no magic sleeping position to suit all, but if you're experiencing bad sleep or pains, you can just follow some of the advice we've given to you today. As one doctor from Johns Hopkins Medicine said about positions, we could argue that some are better than others, but there are caveats. She means what we just said. If you snore too much, don't go for the back. And if you have pains, try a different pillow or using support. And if you have heartburn, switch to your other side. The left is better, she said. If you often wake up with your face looking rather mangled, then try not to sleep on your stomach too much. Apparently, this can cause wrinkles in the long run. Not much of this matters, of course, if you have a mattress that's been around longer than you. If it's out of shape with a kind of dip in the middle, it's going to give you problems. It's hard to say which mattress is perfect for you because some sleepers suit hard mattresses more and some suit soft ones more. If it's cheap and super soft, so you virtually sink into it, it will likely give you some back problems. Soft can be good, but not too soft. It's the same with super hard. If the mattress doesn't allow any sinking at all, it might lead to stiff shoulders and stiff hips in the morning. You don't want to be sleeping on a virtual floor.